We in these streets. It's 3kingsboxing.com. Where we at?
We are in Las Vegas for the Canelo fight, 3 King Boxing. We are here with the IBF International Champion, Mr. Oscar. Oh man, hold on. A big ass nigga like you and you don't eat meat?
Get me? Yeah, no, I don't eat meat anymore. I've only been doing it about maybe only 8 months or something.
Okay.
So it's kind of, you know.
Yeah, no, I don't eat pork. I try not to do a lot of pork.
Yeah, no, I've got rid of pork. I stopped eating pork from like
salmon, cat. Actually, I don't even really. I'm not a big fan of catfish, but salmon. Salmon is really good. Filet is really good. So, yeah, man, I feel you on that fish though. That fish is nice.
Meat in general is not the greatest for you, but pork is probably one of the worst. Sorry to offend anyone. I ate pork for about 25 years anyway. So I've been, pretty good there. And then the meat side, not overly red meat person, but like I said, I'm right now I do a lot of curry butter beans, chickpeas and stuff like that. But it's like a vegan-esque, like pescatarian, but a lot more fish and stuff.
Okay, a lot more fish. All right.
You know what I'm saying?
All right, my brothers. All right, we'll get into it, man. Pep Talk joined by 3K Bings. Sorry, Pep Talk joined by 3K B, 3 Kings Boxing. Bo, my guy. Delighted also to introduce some solid backup. The voice of reason, Dean Whyte, also in the building. How you doing, guys?
All good, man. All good.
All good, man.
Yeah, we need to uplift the mood, get everyone's pulses racing again, and talk about what we're going to potentially see or what we'd like to see once boxing gets underway. What are the big fights? Firstly, we were meant to have a trilogy, Wilder versus Fury 3. Some people don't want to see that. Some people want to see it. What are your guys' take on that fight?
I think, and I think the mood has kind of changed a little bit with that. And here's the reason why. When you was first told the fight was going to happen in July, a lot of people felt that was too early for Deontay Wilder. He had got beaten the fuck up. And yes, I'll say it. He got beat the fuck up. I don't care who gets mad at me about that. It happened. Deontay Wilder has to understand that you got beat. That's the only way you're going to get better if you're going to go into a trilogy. So he got beat up, and people just really felt like July was too soon for him to come back. But now with this long time off, he's had time to rest. Hopefully he brings somebody new into the camp. I was thinking maybe like a Buddy McGirt, because I like what I saw what Buddy McGirt did with Kovalev after their later Alvarez fight. He took him back to the basics. That's what Wilder's going to need. He's going to need somebody that's going to tell him, stop just depending on your right hand. It's not going to work against an elite level fighter like another strong-minded fighter like we saw in Tyson Fury. So your power is not going to bail you out here. Even a Teddy Atlas even be good, because Teddy Atlas had, always doubted Deontay Wilder. So he's going to need that kick-ass type of coach that's going to, keep that foot in his behind and not be like, oh, you good, you do. No, you did this wrong, do it again. So he's going to need that type of training. And I definitely think he's going to have to go back and watch tape and be set down and understood where you went wrong and what you can do to do better. Because Tyson Fury showed us, and I've been telling guys this forever, Tyson Fury ring IQ is off the chain. If I was to name the top 3 fighters with the highest ring IQ in boxing, would be Tyson Fury, Terrence Crawford, and Vasyl Lomachenko. So I think that he's going to need that. So it adds some, now I think because of the long time, and because Fury's been laid off, and then there is that attraction about Fury, like what he did after Klitschko, he won and then he kind of dropped off. Maybe that'll happen here. Who knows? So you have that allure. So that would be I think people are more interested in it now. Personally, I would like to see Wilder, if he takes on a new trainer, have another fight so we can see the new tools. Kind of like Sean Porter. Remember when Sean Porter fought Ugas, he tried something new out, then it worked better when he fought Earl Spence. So I could see that trilogy still being exciting. But at the end, for me, I think the fight, if we're going to look at the big boys, because people break out the money for the big boys, whoever wins between Fury and Wilder, whoever wins between Pulev and AJ, we need undisputed, man. We need it.
Hey,
Wow.
wait a
Both call
goddamn
that.
minute. Wait a minute. Superman coming to the rescue. Wait a goddamn minute. Nah, my bro needs his shot. I hear what you're saying, but my bro, you know what? He's been waiting a long time, man. This WBC situation is a major calamity. And he's been waiting a long time. I know a lot of the world do want to see the unification match with those big boys, but Dillian deserves his shot at the title also, you know. And I'd be kind of sit up here to pretend that that's not really a big relevant point. But I'll just echo what you're saying. I think it's similar thing with the fight for me. I think now that the time, like the initial, I was in Vegas, I was down there, and I thought the same thing. What is the point of a trilogy? Now that he has extra time, I feel, and obviously people are missing boxing now more than ever. You know what I mean? So people, regardless what fights come on, everyone's going to be chomping at the box to see action, be at the shows, and just relive it after being on lockdown and seeing the world change as we all know it. You know what I mean? Back to what you're saying about him. I was saying the same thing. Like, I believe he needs someone in there that will kick his ass and none of this yes man stuff, and let him do what he wants to do. Because I think he's become complacent somewhat because of the right hand, and the team has come complacent because obviously he's been winning and dominating so much. They're forgetting about the fundamentals. They don't want to be training him on, you know, his footwork. He's back to basics with the jab and trying to set stuff up properly and being tidy. In his unorthodox style, he still has skills to a degree, because you can't just go in there and say, oh, he only had the right hand, that's why he's won, because he's won the fights. And you know what I mean? And in the world of boxing, at the same time, I know that he's picked the fights. You still got to go and beat who's in front of you. We've had people over the years, and no one's gone on and done what Deontay Wilder's done and had like 39-0 or certain knockouts and 40, you know, like all that crazy record he had, whatever it was, 41 with 40 knockouts or whatever it is. So no one's really done that. So there has to be a degree of skill in the madness. In terms of what he's doing. His jab's actually not a bad jab when he uses it, but he's just a little bit all over the place in what he does, and he makes up of it because of that right hand. Like he said, he needs a couple of seconds to get it right, and you need to be right for the 12 rounds to get it right. But he come up against someone who has been bred to fight, like Tyson and Fury, whole different animal. Anyone looking at me in interviews, I've always been a big Tyson Fury fan, because a big man should not be able to move and do and think and execute the way Tyson Fury does. And I even said it to him when I first met him. He was like, hey, Dean, what are you doing here? You know, like, you trying to negotiate for your bro? And I said, listen, no, I'm a fan of boxing, B. I just go to the shows and do what I'm doing. And then we started chatting, and I said, listen, man, if you go back and look at my thing, I've always bigged you up, because, like I said, someone's 6'9" moving as good and as sharp and as, you know what I mean? And he's not afraid to try stuff. You know what I mean? Some of the stuff, even when he got dropped by Cunningham, he was doing things in there. That's why he got caught. Even when one of the fights, he uppercutted himself, he was practicing stuff and trying stuff. But he come from the clown and the jester to become the king. So it's quite, you know, in that learning process, he managed to put stuff into practice, and look where he is now. He went to Germany. I was there also, because we was in that Klitschko camp. I was ringside. I watched him go and overthrow my man, and then he went to America. I was over there also in Vegas, and he went and overthrown someone who was claimed to be the next king. So I think he's got a long way, Deontay Wilder, to even thinking of beating someone of the class of him. But I get what you're saying. He has a tendency to have habits of going off the wagon, Tyson Fury, in times, you know, putting on weight, drinking and doing this and doing that. But I mean, right now he's in a good place. I can't see it happening, but it is a potential because bad habits are hard to lose. And change of, him doing stuff, you know what I mean? He's like a man who likes to drink and do his thing. Hopefully he keeps his focus and does it, but it's rotted. I see one big old B like that, I was like, yo. Hey, my eyes was wide. I was about to fly out of this house, No, we ain't got no place for you here, buddy. But back to him. It's interesting. I'd like to see Deontay Wilder go, look at himself in the mirror and say to himself, yo, buddy, listen, we need to change something. And I'm going to go out there, like you say, Teddy Atlas is someone, he's got many different, what's the word I'm looking for? Analogies on how he says it. You're a fireman, go out there and put the fire out. Like he's always great at that and raising people's tempo to go out there and deliver. So he is someone that will just tell you as it is. If you don't like it, that's your beef. The truth often hurts, they say. So that is your problem, no one else's. So, it will be interesting to see. There's a few other American guys who come from that that teacher school role. I can't remember their names. There was a guy named Muhammad something.
Nassim Muhammad.
Yeah, I think that might be one of the guys who's an old school like teacher kind of guy as well. So I don't know. There's many little guys who's out there, but it's down to him and his team. He seems to have about 3 or 4 coaches already. But yet again, I don't know if he respects them enough to listen. And once you lose that respect for your trainer, it's the end of the road. You know what I mean? This is a time. I know some people want to blame trainers for things. It's not about blaming. It's about looking at yourself and saying, listen, if I want to become the best again and become number one, I need to go back to the basics. Who can I get in that ain't going to listen to none of my thing, and I'm going to respect them and have that respect to listen? And he's got to find that person.
I think it's interesting that we have a crop of heavyweights, all who I feel can potentially cause each other a problem. You look at Dillian versus Deontay Wilder. I love that fight. If you're saying to me, build a fight, I can just imagine the actual build up to that fight will be absolutely insane. I mean, with the animosity that's been going back and forth for the longest time, that would be an all-out war. No titles even needed for that.
No. Listen, even Dill was saying, he's been saying for a long time, he's like saying, listen, for him, he looked at Deontay Wilder and he was saying, listen, this guy is a big old bully, and what you do with bullies, you put them on the back foot. And look what Tyson Fury went out there, he put him on the back foot. And that's the issue with him. He couldn't box and he couldn't fight on the back foot. And he couldn't generate the kind of power he's used to generating as well, because he does it on the front foot. If you look how he throws that right, he kind of steps and kind of jumps into that right as well. You get what I'm saying? And he couldn't generate that power on the back foot. And Dill's been saying that for some time, you know what I mean? And Dill's a big body puncher, a lot bigger puncher than Tyson Fury is to the body. And, we saw what happened in there. So I think styles make fights. It's still not to say like he's got all the elements covered, because he's a 6-foot guy. He's big. He carries a lot of power. And, Dill's got a good chin. And what the difference in that fight is the desire. Tyson Fury had that desire, like that unequivocal, I can't beat, and that kind of mentality. Even Dill has that attitude where he will go in there, I'm prepared to be knocked out to try and knock you out and whatever, you know what I mean? And go in there and fight. Deontay Wilder is not a fighting person like that, if you get my meaning. I feel like Dill's more of a fighting person. I feel Fury's, there's certain guys who have that kind of fight in them, if you get my meaning, who will sit down and fight. You know what I mean? But, and have a bit of boxing, because obviously you can box and fight and box. So you got to be smart and pick your battles wisely. But I think that's an interesting fight. But I've always said, I think he's quite small to be a heavyweight. And going to the body to him, it would be interesting to see how he kind of takes the kind of shots, you know what I mean?
Yeah, hold on.
Maybe we might see.
I gotta come to the rescue here. I agree with you.
All right.
Jay Wilder is mentally tough, and he really is, because he's the guy that knows he only has one way to beat you, which is right hand, and he goes in every fight. If he could be losing rounds, but he believes solely in the fact that, hey, guess what? If I connect, I'm a win. In that fight, when he fought Luis Ortiz, he survived that moment, and then he got himself together to come back to do that. So for me, I think that when you say about, putting him on the back foot, and I do agree with that, he can't generate the power, but I think it's a matter of, I don't think Deontay Wilder don't have the mentality of a fight. I think he has it. I just think at the end of the day, he hasn't worked on the basic skills to maintain it. Look at him back in when he first fought Bermain Stavern.
The
That was
first
the
fight.
Deontay Wilder, right?
Yeah, mad
First,
skills.
right. That was the Deontay Wilder we thought we would see. So I think Deontay's mentally tough. You're just not gonna just like he's willing. And we saw that Fury fight. He's willing to take an ass whooping.
Oh, hold on. I didn't say he wasn't mentally tough because you can't be really in there and not be mentally tough. What I'm talking about is you have certain fighters that I took. Was it Riddick Bowe and Evander Holyfield fight?
Mm-hmm.
You see, like I could never see him in that kind of war of nutrition. To me, not like he gave up, but in that fight with Fury, the way he was getting beaten, he seemed so quite submissive. His facial expressions in there didn't seem to be someone who was willing to go to the trenches as it would be. Do you know what I mean by that?
But can we not say that he might have had an off night? Like that can actually happen. That actually can happen.
But also you can say that he was in a position he was never in before. So he was confused on, damn, what do I do? Because what I normally do is not working.
Yeah, possibly that's true as well. But I'm gonna echo that as well. From the beginning of that fight, not to take nothing away from Tyson Fury, when he came in the ring, he didn't seem himself anyway.
The same thing as that AJ had. The same thing.
Similar to what the AJS kind of thing. He just didn't seem to seem himself. He didn't seem to be able to catch his second wind or his breath. He seemed like he was blowing from all the second round, and you know what I mean. And it was quite weird anyway in itself. But I mean. Nah, come on, man. Listen, to go 41-0 fights, you're going to have some mental toughness and gritness. But, I mean, you have, even Anthony Joshua, some people say he's feeble and this and that, but he had some form of mental strength and toughness to get off the floor, not once, but 4 times against Ruiz, you get me,
right.
Before they were stopped it. But
and I think he got off the floor against Vladimir, didn't he?
Yeah. What I mean is, they're not natural fighters, if you get what I mean. And they're athletes who are boxers, but I mean, for me, Dylan Chisora is quite a fighter. Chisora's like, you know what I mean? He's a fighter who's sitting.
I mean, these aren't guys that started from this knee high. And when these are guys who did other, like I think Deontay was a football, basketball player, and took up boxing. Oh, I think I see what you mean.
Yeah, so it's different. Like Joshua, obviously he started late, but he was a natural athlete anyway from the beginning. You can see from his physique, his structure, he took to it quite well. He's had a lot of rubber to green his way in terms of, going to the Olympics, getting stuff and winning gold here and so on. And then obviously the whole country being behind him and pushed in his capacity. Deontay Wilder's had it somewhat similar, not as much, but somewhat similar. And then you've got the Gypsy King, Irish people, similar to blacks over here, have it hard and had a rough road coming up. But yet again, he was been boxing since he was probably like 3, 4, 5. That's something you cannot, deny in any sport. He's still years ahead of loads of these boys. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Dillian coming from a Muay Thai kickboxing background, did a little bit of MMA, and coming from that, when people say, oh, you had a kickboxing round, that don't mean shit. There's many kickboxers that come into boxing and don't do anything. And it's a totally different style. How you sit, your structure. If you're some of them are straight up too much, they're front foot dominant. How they kind of come forward because of the Muay Thai stuff, and you can see that kind of shape. So for him, he's had to learn and relearn the whole thing again afterwards because he's had too much of a rigid style, and now he's trying to balance it out. So it's kind of different for all of the guys. Deontay Wilder, like you say, came from basketball, something, but then yet again, he's a natural athlete. His physique, his structure, and then he's got that freakishly natural power, which is unique again. But I mean, listen, all of these boys have different sides to them and things that have benefited them and maybe not have benefited them in so many different ways. But I mean, Deontay Wilder's had that power, and that was the difference for him, why he didn't actually get to learn boxing and the fundamentals properly from the beginning, because most of the people he touched, he didn't even get to work out if there was any skill there because he had that power. All he needed to do was catch them at some stage, and that's it. The boxing, you didn't need to worry about boxing. You know what I mean?
No, I agree with you because, like I said, if you watch he shows it to you in spots. Like, once he figures it out, just like in the first Fury fight, once he figures it out, he puts it together. But he takes too long putting it together. It's not like right out the gate. In the Stavern fight, he heavily regressed. I was like, if that's the Wilder we see that we saw in that first Deverne fight, this dude can be good. He heavily regressed because, like you said, he started solely counting on that right hand. The biggest mistake I felt they made with Deontay was after beating Stavern, they never put him back in there with a tough enough opponent to keep testing him. I have nothing against Eric Molina. I have nothing against Spilka. But those are dudes he should have been fighting when he was 20 and something. Them ain't guys you fight after winning the title.
Yeah, but he, is the guys he was fighting before, they had him fighting some real different guys in there. I don't even want to put them down because they're professional athletes. They went in there and they done their thing. So, but the reality is the guys weren't really good enough. He should have been fighting those guys, like you say, prior to being 20 and 0. He's, like a lot of these guys are fighting certain guys when they're like, 13, 15, 16, 17, 18. By the time you're 20 and in your 20s and something, you're meant to be fighting. He was fighting the likes of Molina when he was 30 or something, when 30, or something like that.
Yeah. He was past 30 because that was after he won the championship. So he was past.
So what I'm saying is, yeah, you're right. I think he should have been developing at a certain pace. But do you know what? I think he's done good. He beat the likes of Ortiz twice, which a lot of people keep saying was the boogeyman and this and that. But he went in there and yeah, again, do you know what? He's been a problem because he was been outboxed against Spilka. He nearly got knocked out by Molina. There's so many fights he was losing, boxing, Washington, loads of them, and then slept them motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But,
Bo, you mentioned a fight you want to see for all the marbles, heading towards Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. Now it's interesting. It seems like in England the country's divided amongst Fury and AJ. What do they think out in the States about who could win that potential fight?
Man, you know what? Let me say one thing first. The fight that I want to see, Terrence Crawford and Earl Spence. I want to see that.
That's my one. That's the one that I wanted.
That, man.
Yeah.
I think that put butts in, that put the asses back in seats right there. Because them are two dogs.
yeah.
If Tyson Fury gets past Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua gets past Kubrat Pulev, that's gonna be a very interesting fight. I like boxing, so I'm invested in boxing. I don't give a shit if it's an American in it. I don't care if it's a black, whatever. I don't care about that. I just care about, top guys fighting top guys. If Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua wind up fighting, the thing with me is I like that fight for Tyson Fury only because of this right here is Anthony Joshua, as good as a boxer as he is, he's more technically sound than Deontay Wilder, hands down. But I think the thing about it, I still question Anthony Joshua's mental state from the Ruiz fight. Now, he won the rematch, right? But that's because he was able, Ruiz didn't come in like we thought he should have came in, and it was a fight he should have won in the first place. So I want to see if he gets into it. Like if Tyson Fury jumps on him like he did Deontay Wilder, will Anthony Joshua check out? That's a mystery to me. Or has he learned and he won't check out? He'll, like we talk about, he'll be willing to go to them trenches. Anthony Joshua can still sometimes be a bit robotic, still like a bit upright. Tyson Fury's up on them toes. Like Fury is more athletic, in my opinion, than Anthony Joshua is in that ring, and he's more aware. So it's a tale of contrast for me. I think that Anthony Joshua will have his moments because unlike most people, Joshua has a good jab. Joshua, he's a little bit like in the rematch, he was a little bit better defensive. He was a little bit better defensive wise. He was more defensively sound in the rematch with Andy Ruiz. My biggest problem with Joshua though is if he gets touched, he has a tendency sometimes, even in Povetkin fight, he get caught with a hook and then he kind of wakes up and he realizes, oh snap, wait a minute, I can't lose focus here. So if he can stay laser focused like Andy Ruiz against Tyson Fury, that can be, we can get a very good fight, but a very good technical fight. And if it's going to be a technical fight, that's the advantage Tyson Fury because he's just in my opinion, he's more technically sound fighter. He's the better mover. He's the better boxer. But if it gets to where it can get down in the trenches, Joshua can punch. And if we can get the Joshua we saw against Vladimir Klitschko, that can be one hell of a fight and probably more of a fight they can win because Joshua, the one thing you would have to do to me with Tyson Fury, if he comes in 274, test that body, hit that stomach, test that flab, test
Bingo.
that jab tank.
That's the
So I like it, man. But if I had to bet, I got a bet on Fury, man. He beat the American, so I want him to keep winning, you know?
Yeah. Do you know what though? You hit the nail on the head, because I don't really do too much talking about it, because obviously I think that's the weakest part for me for Tyson Fury. So I've said it here and there, but I don't make too much noise about it, because obviously if you do, you give people advantages and something to work on. You get what I'm trying to say, and then they think, okay, is this a weak spot? You know what I mean? But saying that, I think, to be honest, potentially I've said that in the past because of misuse of drugs, him going up in weight so much, him drinking alcohol, many other things. But then what we got to look at also, I know from him and his camp and a lot of them guys up in Sheffield at the Inglewood gym, a lot of these guys do body sparring in Manchester, because he spars with a lot of smaller guys. So over years, you get conditioned anyway when you do body sparring. And, you know what I mean? I've seen a lot of people hit him to the body. That's why I always thought him and Dill would be a good fight, because instead of headhunting, Dill can just do straight tree chopper, and just only thump hips and ribs and body and just work, tumble elbow and them thing there, because Dill was rough and rugged. And that's the kind of fight I think for me would be a better fight. If you're going to try and out-skill or outbox Tyson Fury, is a madness. The guy's 6'9", he's big, he knows how to use the ring, he knows how to use his size, and he can box in close as well. But that's why you got to rough him up, sit on his chest, try and get the little spaces to work the body, and just work. Exactly, and try and bring him into that dogfight, like you're saying. With cause you can work on the outside and do stuff, but he just moves so well, and he's trying to counter you and put you into the position he wants. So you got to be careful of that also. So for me, I know what you mean, but the Joshua I saw against Andy Ruiz when we was out in Saudi, that was what I thought would win it for him. You know, boxing the outside, moving. He looked really well. He moved better than I thought and imagined he could move. If truth be told, for being as big as he is, I didn't think he could move that way for 12 rounds and not be tired. Because remember, the Joshua we've seen before, a lot of muscle bound, a lot of fatigue. But then that's because he has a lot of trade ups, and the muscle, the lactic acid kicks in. Once it locks up, it's difficult. But like you're saying, if I see him having a lot of problems, but then I see him, because he's a good combination puncher, I think he could get results because of that, you know, like, because he throws like a 1-2, his uppercut and his hooks quite good, you know what I mean? So he could get make the fight interesting. But like you said, if you're talking real technical ability and all round skill, Tyson Fury is right and up the top and head and shoulders above a lot of the guys, because he's been doing it as a kid. But there's ways to fight people who do have this, but like I said, he's got dog in him as well. Don't get that confused. He's a real dog, Tyson Fury, boy. So you're gonna have to kind of, I don't even know what you're gonna have to do, but you have to bring it. That's it. Because in a boxing match it's difficult, and in a fight it's difficult, and it's just war and nutrition. It probably boils down to fitness as well. Really, who's more fit, who can sit there in the trenches and dig it out for the 12 round, make it.
Is it a question, Bo, of who can execute the better game plan? Because you see Joshua against Ruiz, he implemented the game plan, keeping it long.
No game plan like that, bruv. I'm sorry. There's that game plan would not work on Tyson Fury, bro. Trust me.
I have to agree with him.
Is it a case of obviously just headhunting the body, as you were saying, maybe a couple straight rights straight to the stomach as well? If he can kind of pin Fury down and literally just stay on his chest, a la John Ryder on Callum Smith. I mean, for me, that fight was debatable in terms of the result.
There ain't no debate. I'm a big Callum Smith fan. You lost that fight, buddy. There ain't no debate, bro. That's what it is. It's just one of them ones, isn't it? There ain't no debate. I thought like John Ryder won that fight. And I tell you what it is. He won that fight also. Obviously, we're saying sitting on the chest and so on. I think John Ryder's southpaw as well, yeah?
Yeah, southpaw, yeah.
Well, obviously, maybe that southpaw style gave him nightmares. I'm not sure if he's used to fighting southpaw, so that's probably a big thing. But he just didn't look like he turned up to the races that night. That's what really I think as well. He just didn't look like he turned up. And fighters can have that. Fighters cannot turn up to the races. But you know what it is? If you can manage to have that habit of not turning up to the races and still win, at least you're in a good position to come back next time, assess the situation, say, well, I need to address, why I didn't turn up. Maybe because I thought I won the fight before I even got into the ring, because you feel like the person's a lesser being or a lesser opponent. Sometimes you got to rise to the occasion, and that what he could have overlooked Ryder before, because it's John Ryder, because he's from England. He's like, well, I'm gonna go and beat that sucker, man. I don't need to get out for that boy. He ain't even in my club.
Also, got to remember John Ryder actually lost to a guy that Callum Smith beat, so Callum Smith probably figured, since I beat that guy, I beat him. Here's the thing. I felt like John Ryder won that fight, and here's why. When you make a fighter, especially a champion, do something different and look awkward than what he's normally used to looking, then you have to look at the challenger and give more credence to the challenger. Think Gennady Golovkin and Daniel Jacobs. Think Gennady Golovkin, Derevyanchenko. You had Golovkin doing things that he wasn't used to doing, and he looked awkward. He looked different. So when John Ryder came into that fight, he brought the dog. Callum Smith came into that fight. He's thinking, I'm Callum Smith, WBSS winner. I got this. He didn't bring the dog. So when you don't bring the dog, I got to give it to the guy that brought the dog. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I got to get
that sounds like some DMX shit, man.
Yeah. You know, you was talking. Here's the thing. There is no particular style that I think you bring into that ring for Tyson Fury, because this is a guy, and this is why the title Gypsy King is perfect for him. He goes to every gym, he travels, he fights different guys because he learns different styles to be able to offset what you do. Now, I think that Joshua's best way to win, he's gonna have to bring the dog like he never brought the dog before. He's gonna have to jump on Tyson Fury, go to that body, push him back. Hell, manhandle him, do him like he did Wilder, throw him down to the ground a couple times. Let the ref deduct the point. But you got to get Tyson Fury out of his game plan. You got to get in Tyson Fury's head. That's what you have to do. That's his. If he can get
anyone get into his head?
Hold on, wait a minute. Superman's coming back. Wait a goddamn minute. He come. Here he come. It's DW. He the man. Superman to the rescue. To Dillian. Come on, the body snatcher. Exactly as against Parker. Rough, rugged. His elbow in his choke, pushing him down. That's how you destabilize someone out of their game plan. Rough tactics, old school styles, little bit of head under the chin, rub it in their face, and make it a dog fight. When you get it like
Marcus Madonna against Floyd sort of style.
Exactly. Listen, my guy. You understand? This is obviously it's called boxing, but it's called fighting also. War of nutrition. And some man, when you do all these other things, they, like you say, they become like second questioning their boxing a bit, and they're thinking, this isn't boxing anymore. What's going on here? Once you get them to that stage, that's when it becomes different. And then what's got to happen is the other guy is now on the ascendance because he's changed the dynamics. Unless you can be rough and rugged and ready to try and throw down, and remember, even Stavern and Wilder, shit, when Wilder caught him with a shot, he done the WWE thing, the double leg takedown, took him down in the corner. You know what I'm saying? So he managed to last the 12 rounds distance. So listen, this game, man, you got to have that rough and rugged style. You got to have a little bit of that dogging. You got to understand. That's why when Dill says box and fight, at times you'll see him fighting in there where he'll dig in, he'll go to the body, he'll go to the head, he'll sit on the ropes near them and try and work. He'll sit on the ropes and try and catch and do stuff. And then you'll see him get on his bike and box and use his jab and try and break them down. Box fight. And a lot of the time, that's how he probably wins, because he's putting out a lot of work, and then afterwards he'll go and use his jab, is what the judges want to see. You know what I mean? He's doing cute things in there. Sometimes people don't even understand what he's actually doing in there, because he's doing a lot of stuff the old school fighters do. There's not many men that catch and counter off that left hook. Callum Smith's one of the guys that does it. There's a few other guys off the head right now. I can't really think. There's a few other guys. Maybe the smaller guys are good at doing that. But I mean, when you're talking about heavyweights, I can't think of really any.
A lot of the smaller weight guys do that. Like you said, they catch and hit you account. Kosei Tanaka does it a lot. He's one. I think he's down there in the junior bantamweight division. So he's one of the smaller guys who does it. So when you see a heavyweight do it, you're absolutely right about that. It's like an anomaly, which is the thing that makes Wilder effective. Deontay Wilder's like a basketball power forward playing, boxing. So when he makes those juke moves, it looks awkward because you're not used to seeing it, but it's effective for him because of his frame. Same thing with Tyson Fury. It's awkward to see a big man move like that, but it's effective for him. Why? Because it works for his frame. So, man, I just want to listen, man. I need boxing back. Shit,
Hey,
I'm tired of
but you know what?
a kid.
I think we're all in that same mindset that we want to see boxing back and try and get these big fights. Imagine even now, right now, obviously in the UK, there's lots of stuff going on. It's kind of different. You got the battle with the rappers trying to argue with each other and make fights. Not rappers who are like famous over here getting into argument. I'm actually trying to get them to do the fights and try and promote it even now myself. And you know what? You'll have interest. Say for instance, imagine like for instance, you'll have like who over there is beefing each other, like maybe like NBA. What's that? NBA? What's his name?
Young boy. Is it Young Boy? NBA Young Boy?
Yeah, him versus Kodak Black fighting each other. That would sell out. You get what I'm trying to say? So I'm doing a similar thing here. There's a lot of these young boys arguing with each other. Everyone thinks they're a tough nut until they get in the ring and see how it really is. But you got, like right now, there's nothing going on. People want entertainment. Like everyone's on Instagram Live arguing with each other. Look, now you got Hypo and C-Biz that potentially they're gonna fight. Did you see that online? Yeah, so everyone wants to get entertainment right now as best as they can. If they can't get the professionals to do it, hell, they want to see some rappers knock each other's heads off. People want to see smoke right now. People's used to football, soccer, basketball, whatever it is. But as we're boxing heads, you know what I mean? We want to see this fight. That fight you're talking, I'm a big fan of Crawford and of Earl Spence as well. That fight is for me as well, man. But let's see how that goes down, man. I think I'm gonna go out there when all this is over. Hopefully, I want to go and check Derek, the trainer. James.
Derek James. All right. How do you see this one, Bo? Spence and Crawford.
Terrence Crawford and Earl Spence. I'm gonna give my thing, and then unfortunately, fellas, I got a family situation going on, so I gotta, this is why I need boxing back, man. They can't bother me if I'm watching boxing is back. I wouldn't be here. But I like that fight. I think what you're seeing in Terrence Crawford is Terrence Crawford has been fighting low-level opposition, and what happens to a guy like Crawford is you kind of fight down to that level. Earl Spence has been fighting higher-level competition. He fought the Mikey Garcia. Say what you want, Mikey Garcia, even though he came in weight, but he's technically sound. Earl got to see that. He was in a dog fight with Sean Porter. He got to see that. So he's fighting these fights that's making him improve as a fighter, while you have one fighter who peaked, but he's not continuously going because the guys he's fighting is below him. So he's not being pushed. So when that fight happens, one or two things going to happen. Either Terrence Crawford is going to realize he's going to, okay, this is the fight I want for, he's going to keep going, or Earl Spence is going to be over him and be able to, really impose his will. Two mentally tough, two strong, determined dudes. Now, here's the problem, though. Crawford's a switch hitter. That could be a problem for Earl Spence because when you're a lefty, you're used to fighting conventional fighters. Most lefties struggle when they have to fight other lefties. So Crawford could switch hitter. So Earl would have to prepare for that. But Earl believes in himself. I just wonder what was taken out of Earl from the car accident. That's
I'm going to say that.
Yeah, what was taken, and then I don't like what I hear Crawford team saying that, oh man, we don't need Earl Spence to make the Hall of Fame. No. I don't like boxers talking about the Hall of Fame while you're still active. No. I don't like that kind of talk. So I definitely think there's going to be a good fight. If I had to right now pick a person, right now I would definitely go with Terrence Crawford, only because Terrence Crawford has at least shown me more. Earl Spence has shown me something, but it's not enough for me to, and it's close to, it's like, it's real close. It's like 49.5. So,
when you say show more, are you talking about throughout their career? Obviously, he was undisputed at 140. Are you saying career-wise, or are you talking about a 147?
I'm talking about career-wise. Terrence Crawford has shown me.
Fair enough. That's a fair comment.
Yeah, over the course of his whole career, he's shown me his ability to make adjustments and adapt a lot more. So. And it's coming for Earl, and it's getting together. I think the car accident kind of slowed down his momentum. So I'm because of what I don't know what was taken out of Earl, what exactly was taken out of him. So if I had to go right now, and because of that uncertainty, because when you're in a life-threatening situation, it changes you mentally. It really does. So because of that, that's the only reason why I'm putting Crawford over him, because of that. But I can't dismiss what I saw in Earl against Garcia and what I saw in Earl against Sean Porter for me to be like, yo, that boy is learning. That dog is coming. So, but I'm gonna leave. But check it out, y'all. Be on the lookout, because I'm gonna come back and get some smoke with Mr. Whyte right here. Listen, I'm finna leave and go get my kryptonite for that S on that chest, and I'm gonna have a green shirt on. I'm gonna come back and smoke with that with Mr. Whyte right there, man. This is Three Kings Boxing. Always love talking to my man,
very much.
Mr. Whyte. It was good to meet you, man. This is boxing. We need it back. UK, USA, wherever it is, man. We need boxing back, everybody.
All day. Remember, subscribe to both channels. Three Kings Boxing, Pep Talk UK. Big up the man there, including Dean Whyte.
Bless up, G.
Large up.
We in these streets.
Your man Bo at 3KBoxing.com. I'm here with my man from Chicago, like me, Mr. P. Quill. What's going on, man?
All right, Max, EJ from 3KingsBoxing.com.
You mentioned Cecilia Brackets. You mentioned Amanda Serrano. If those fights can be made, would you be willing to go up, down, meet anybody, or it just doesn't matter to you? You just want to prove that you are a tough competitor in this sport.
We've seen anything can happen, especially we know with these heavyweights. Boxing,
Like a man.
I got you. We like a man.
Yo, this 3 King Boxing here with Buddy McGirt. We trained Kovalev today. Buddy, man, how'd it go in there today, man? What was the difference that we saw in Kovalev that we hadn't seen before?
Wilder has doubled his profile on the back of using Andy Joshua's name. I would do exactly the same thing if I was Deontay Wilder. No one else knows who he is.